Hello, and welcome to the Dokkan battle video. So I just kind of wanted to make an updated tier list for right now because I feel like the way that we view DOKKANFEST TURs has drastically changed due to the release of DOKKANFEST Kid Goku. I will talk about him later, but we're just pretty much going to go over who I think is pretty much the only DOKKANFEST that are even really relevant right now and where I would probably rank them. So first up, we actually have Physical Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Now, he has been pretty solid ever since he came out. He's always been really strong offensively, and if you build him a full, basically full dodge, he can actually be good defensively as well, as long as he gets a few super attacks in. He's always just been this kind of unit that is just there to sit there and slot 3, link up really well with the entirety of the team, and absolutely pump out insane amounts of damage. So the amount of damage that this Super Saiyan 3 Goku can do on a good turn is absolutely ridiculous, and that cannot be underrated at all. However, he did come out before the 200% leads were a thing. I could have very easily seen this man have some sort of other additional 30% because his team is so ridiculously good. It's just such a shame that he was shafted out of the 200% meta because he was literally the DOKKANFEST released right before we actually got the meta change, so that is very upsetting for him. However, it's just that his defense is nothing to really ride home about anymore, so it's kind of a thing where his role is just kind of to finish off fights more than it is to kind of sustain them and really do well and tank a lot of hits. He's not really designed for that. Now, S tier Kid Buu, I will probably rank higher than him if he had a team that he could actually be ran on with a 200% lead, especially if that team had what's his name, Janembu. If Janembu and him are on the same 200% lead, then he would genuinely rank higher than Goku in my mind. But as of right now, he's just kind of stuck, unable to really get his foot in the door. Once he does, though, he'll absolutely be a menace. All right, cool. So next up, we actually have the ROF Blues. They're a unit that, while I do thoroughly like and absolutely love the way that they designed their team, as of right now, they are basically just a 200% lead version of Physical Super Saiyan 2 Goku. He's they're good, right? The Goku portion can do an insane amount of damage. They build that up really fast, and then you switch into Vegeta, and he can tank rather well as long as he has this additional 3 key spheres obtained. However, I think where the problem lies with this character is, one, they got shafted by being ROF characters, so they have to have Super God Combat and Resurrection F. They could have had easily anything else. And then also the fact that they themselves, for some reason, aren't even really that tanky. They really went light on them as a unit. I don't know why, but it feels like they were a step back from the 200% leads that we were getting before them. As you guys will see when we get forward in the list, pretty much every single 200% lead besides Raditz that came out before this unit is ranked higher than them. So it was really awkward when we had all these broken 200% leads, and then we just jumped back to basically the same power of the Christmas characters. It was very weird. I do still like this guy. He can actually be really effective against type advantage enemies. It's just that I feel like they could have done a lot more with him. I will note here that his team is built perfectly. It's basically every single Realm of Gods or Pure Saiyan, or Realm of Gods, or Super Saiyan character that's on the Pure Saiyan team, which is pretty much every single Goku and Vegeta from the Cell Saga onward. It's kind of crazy. And this will get buffed later when we finally get the anime returning. This is going to be just insane of a team to run. It's going to be really fun. It's just that running 2 of them really doesn't feel very good because they both are super hungry for key spheres, and the fact that they only are allowed to change key spheres for 3 turns just doesn't make any sense. All right, so moving on, we got the boy Tech Ultimate Gohan. He has not aged at all. I mean, he has, but not really, since he's released literally 2 years ago. It's absolutely ridiculous that he's still this good. The only thing that's really holding him back is his leader skill and the fact that he really doesn't do all that much damage. He can do damage eventually, especially on the 200% lead for powerful comeback. It's just that his role has always just been to be a super tank, and that has still been the same. It's the reason why they keep shafting every single character who has guard. It's just that they do not want to repeat Tech Ultimate Gohan. Like, this is a unit that I feel like they are deeply ashamed of, and a unit that I don't feel like is gonna get an easy for probably at least another like year and a half at most. Like, actually at least, actually I don't think this guy is gonna be far away from getting his EZA. A unit that came out in a very similar time slot to him has already EZA'd, so we're just kind of left with this guy, who I feel like is going to stay at this form probably for a very, very long time. He's always been solid, he will always be good. Anybody that wants to complain like, yeah, but he doesn't do it doesn't matter. All these units can do good damage, literally, except him. He's the only character on this list that isn't doing an absolute insane amount of damage, and there's a reason for that, and it's because this man is just one of the best tanks in the entire game, and will continue to be one for probably the rest of time. Anyway, moving on, we do got AGL Cell here. Now, AGL Cell is a unit that I would like to be better than he is. The first two forms, he can kind of get smacked up depending on how many enemies you're fighting. If you are fighting the max amount of enemies for both the first and second forms, he's going to be an absolute menace and like a super battle road killer. But what you really want to get is just as quickly as you can to AGL Cell's like perfect form. That's when he absolutely becomes just a beast and will just become the god of the game. He also does have probably one of the better rage modes where he gets guaranteed crits as well as key for the turn, which is very helpful for actually being able to do damage, because that's like kind of the problem with most rage modes, is you get them and then they like do nothing, and then you just kind of clear a turn and move on. This cell actually can do some pretty decent damage, especially if he's double supering each time. It actually like really adds up with the guaranteed crits. But yeah, perfect form cell is absolutely ridiculous. It's just that the first two forms of him are a little lackluster, and the fact that on his team, like mainly an android setup, he doesn't really have very many linking partners, because there's not a lot of good cells in the game. Like, if they would have made physical LR Cell better than what he is right now, this guy would have been just a lot better off, except they really didn't. So we're kind of just left in this point waiting for Cell Max to come out to make this guy better again. So next up, I actually have Int Majin Vegeta. Now, I like Int Majin Vegeta only on the Bond of Parent and Child team led by Vegeta and Trunks. He got massively buffed by them existing, because all the other Trunkses in the game are literally worthless. There is not a single Trunks like in the game besides LR Vegeta and Trunks that is worth literally anything, which is a shame because they put like 27 Trunkses out last year. But yeah, I do have Int Majin Vegeta here mainly because I feel like his overall team, when looking at him as a character, like, if you're going to summon for a character, you want them to be like a character you're gonna want either use often, you like a lot, or has a good team that is actually gonna help you win events. Majin Vegeta's team is fucking weird. Sorry for swearing, YouTube algorithm, but like, I don't understand why they gave him Gifted Warriors as a 30%. They could have given him literally anything else and it would have been better. They could have given him, let's see, what are the other categories? Oh, Struggle would have been fine. Majin Buu Saga. Actually, he already leads Majin Buu Saga. I don't know, Resurrected Warriors, maybe Super Saiyan 2, Connected Hope, like all these other categories that he could have had a 200% lead for, and they gave it to Gifted Warriors. It's just not optimal, and he doesn't really even work well on his own team, funny enough, because you're running two of him and it just doesn't really work because they both need 6 orbs. But when he's on the Vegeta and Trunks team and you only have one of them, he actually functions rather well. It's like a slot 3 like tank, providing orbs to allow you to heal up with Vegeta and Trunks, because they're gonna have a lot more defense than this guy. I just wish they made not only his link set better, but like him better. He doesn't do like any damage at all. He hits like a feather. It just feels weird. Like when running this guy, he always just feels kind of clunky to me. So next up, we actually have the Exchange Goku and Gohan. Like, unlike most people, I actually like this unit better than Majin Vegeta, just because I feel like people really underrate the Goku portion of this card. If he's able to do like a double super attack, he has pretty solid defense, especially once he starts dodging. Like, because that's a very underrated ability that people just seem to never really talk about. It's the fact that, yeah, he does need to super attack before he can actually do his dodge, but once he starts dodging, he actually gets up to insane amounts of defense. He also has that stun chance, which is really good against a lot of first phases of a lot of red zone fights. So I feel like this Goku portion is actually a lot better than most people like even care to talk about. And then he transforms into probably one of the better units in the entire game. If you could have this Gohan turn 1, he might even be in contention for #1 Dokkan Fest in the entire game even right now with Kid Goku being out, like, because this Gohan is absolutely ridiculous. Like, basically permanent guard after you get hit a few times, insanely high levels of defense post being fully built up and post super attack. He can do it multiple times in a turn. He just ends up pretty much being invincible once you have him fully built up. I just wish that it was a little bit easier to get into him, which is why he's not higher up on the list. So next up, we actually have the tech androids. They are like literally ridiculous. The fact that we have a unit that is pre 200% lead era who feels like a 200% lead character, like this is what extreme units need to be, because of how like rare we actually get extreme Dokkan Fests. The more extreme Dokkan Fests we get, the better, and I want them to be built like the future androids. Yeah, their team is kind of weird and nobody really runs it ever, but when you just have one of them, not only do they have their Ghost Usher that they can do whenever they really want to against 90% of the game, they have insane levels of defense post super attack. They 100% nullify Ki Blast supers, which is the most common super attack type in the entire game. It's just craziness. They change orbs from themselves. They're basically a nuker who's self-sustaining, kind of like Kid Goku, but like with type orbs. If it was like, if they were able to get their buffs from any type of orb like fully, this would probably be my number 3 pick, because they're just that crazy, not only defensively but offensively. They got amazing partners in 19 and 20 who are also a unit that absorbs blast super attacks. So it just ends up kind of making like an invincible duo where these units are really not taking much damage at all anywhere, and I just love the fact that they're able to do that. And plus they have the seal on their super attack effect, which can make them even better for like a super battle road setting. No, these guys are also going to get better once we get more superhero stuff, because there's a lot of androids in that movie, and android team, android buff, you know what I mean? All right, so next up we actually have Pan, and I feel like I am good to actually put in my top 3. I feel like it was not hard to guess at all who numbers 1, 2, and 3 are. I feel very confident in this placement. First off, Pan, insanely offensive unit, literally will one-shot 99% of the bosses in the entire game. My only problem with Pan is, one, she doesn't have very many partners that are actually good for her. We did just get Kid Goku, but he doesn't activate her unit super attack, which allows her to greatly stack defense and have a better stunning chance, which is something that does come into play quite often, especially because you want her active skill to just be a gigaton bomb that you're just going to drop on a unit and just completely get rid of them for the rest of the fight. Like, it's just like this, like active skill is such an absolutely ridiculously strong attack, thanks to her stacking attacks so much that it, like, no enemies in the game, especially if they have type advantage, or if Pan has type advantage, will live this if she has any bit of support at all, and it's like turn 5. Like, she can literally one-shot like HL Broly with such ease that it's not even funny. She does more damage than both of the 7-year LRs for some reason, and I just wish that they would have supported her just a little bit more by giving us more GT Kid Gokus, as well as just more units for her 200% lead, because like we just didn't really get too many buffs for her during her celebration. And also I wish that her damage reduction didn't like go away after she gets hit in slot 1. Like, I don't really like that, because for some reason whenever me and a lot of other people run Pan, specifically Pan's team, it seems that because you want Pan in slot 1, so you'll put her in slot 1, but they'll attack like once or twice in slot 1 and then immediately super attack right after Pan does and just eliminate her straight off the face of the planet. It gets really annoying sometimes when you're running her team. Having one of Pan does feel a lot better than having 2 of her, so maybe in the future we're going to get a lot more teams that will have Pan as a 200% lead, and we can actually run her in a more fitting environment for her. But she's always going to be kind of held back by the fact that post attack she can get slapped up really, really hard by those big time super attacks. So up to Ginyu, right? Ginyu is, I feel like, one of the only 200% leaders that I actually am perfectly fine with running 2 of, just because of how well his team is built for the Ginyu Force team and how well all the units on the Ginyu Force team are made as well. Considering he has access to not only Rakum and Guldo, Birder and Jace, but also both of the free-to-play LRs who are insanely good support units that can just sit in slot 3, activate some really good links for this Ginyu, like Respect and Gentleman, which makes him even better as a character. And then the fact that all of them are linking perfectly with each other, supporting each other, making it so that they're just all either invincible or dishing out insane levels of damage. Like, it's too easy with the Ginyu Force team for the most part. The only time that the Ginyu Force team even has trouble is if it's a really short event that hits super hard right out the gate. So like, or if like Ginyu has type advantage. Those are the only two instances where, or type disadvantage, where the Ginyu Force team is pretty lacking. Other than that, this team literally just fodderizes everything else in the game, especially like if you can get Ginyu Goku out, which is not hard at all because all you have to do is be kind of low on HP. He'll full heal you, has a chance to get a scouter. If you do it early enough, he's still going to have his super effective against all types as well, especially like the first turn he transforms. I believe he still has it. And then that Ginyu Goku absolutely demolishes 90% of the bosses as well, because he's doing multiple like attack raising super attacks constantly, and it's just like absolutely ridiculous. I think I've said like enough, and you've seen enough about the Ginyu Force to know how good they are. I do have a video that I'm going to make about the Ginyu Force team in particular now that they are back on global, and just kind of go in depth of why I think they're no longer the best, like why no longer Ginyu is the best TOR in the game, and why Kid Goku is now better than him, but also that I feel like his team is just absolutely ridiculous. But like, other than that, I'm pretty sure that's everything you guys need to hear, because you guys have already heard it all like thousands of times. Anyway, moving on to the actual best TOR in the game now. I think what really differentiates Kid Goku from Ginyu is the fact that Kid Goku is just as dominant as like he is with Android 8 as he is without Android 8, because he doesn't need him to be good, because he's still an absolute monster when it comes to what he is actually providing to the team. Not only is he Rainbow Orb changing, but if he gets enough orbs, he's giving damage reduction and crit chance. He's also getting attack and defense per orb, which he built. Again, he Rainbow Orb changes because he can get a bunch by himself. He's supporting multiple teams. Granted, the teams are not very big, but they're teams that he work well with him. Like, he has a decent link set, even though he has links that are specifically for stuff like the Dragon Ball Saga team. He still has like good links like Kamehameha, Fierce Battle on the Family, the Innocence that work well with other teams that he's on. Not only does he get the damage reduction for all allies, he is also getting damage reduction per key sphere obtained. He's just too good at being a an all-around character that I feel like there's no reason or no way that people would ever say that he is not the #1 TUR in the game. He is just doing way too much. Any event that you're bringing this guy in, especially if you have 2 of them, he is literally controlling the entire event. You can bring lackluster units and still completely fodderize the hardest content in the entire game, just because this guy, as well as Android 8, let's not forget him, he does exist, just absolutely dominate everything. If you are running him, you are in zero danger whatsoever, and I just love that. He's also incredibly fun as well. Ginyu, Pan, and Kid Goku have the advantage of not only being some of the strongest characters in the game, but some of the most fun characters to run ever. Another character that I would like to point out as being a fun character is actually the ROF Blues. They're really fun. Their team's good. But these guys just have like that to an insane degree, to the point where no other character really even comes close to being like as impressive as these 3 are. And it's not even like fair to the rest of the 200% leads. They need to start making more characters like these 2 specifically, and less characters like, sadly, the ROF Blues. And that's kind of everything that I want to say about this. I feel like this is like, I'm confident in this. This is the top 10 TURs plus reds in the entire game. I'm perfectly fine with this. Let me know how you guys feel about this. If you want to see it in a different way, plus with a little bit more extras, I think this is another way you can kind of arrange it. It's still ordered in the tier, but it gives a little bit more clarity to how I feel like it's kind of like set up, because I feel like these 4 are very, very similar in terms of the performance, as well as these 4 and these 3. These guys are just kind of here because I wanted to put them here, and you know, Raditz is Raditz. But yeah, I feel like these are by far the solidified top 10 picks. I think you could do this if you really wanted to. I just don't like Majin Vegeta as much as other people do, so there's that. But yeah, this is how I feel about the current state of Dokkan. This is going to change soon because we do know the Gammas are coming. But as of right now, this is how I feel. Let me know how you guys feel about this list in the comments down below. I know I cannot please everybody, but hey, let me know. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That's all I got for you guys right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.